Alright, so today we're taking a look at my first ever sketchbook before I made it a frequent practice in my artistic life, which I continue till this day. Many years in the making here. This dates back to freshman year of high school in 2002, before social media was a thing and destroyed everyone's attention span. So I had a lot of time on my hands and focused on getting better at drawing in my free time. The first page is a drawing based off of a Queen album that I saw as a kid. I liked it so much that I copied it and I put my own twist on it, adding dogs, blood, and other weird stuff. Here's the original album art I was referencing to compare. I didn't have the technical skills to copy it one for one, so I just took the elements that I liked and added my own spin to it. Here we have Spider-Man. So Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out in 2002 and it was a massive influence on me. I wanted to try drawing comic book characters, and you can see here a couple of iterations of Spider-Man. Next to this was my rendition of the Twin Towers during September 11th. I was just starting freshman year of high school in September 2001, and this event occurred. So I remember standing in a crowded doorway leading out to the roof of the third floor of my school, and all I saw was smoke all across the horizon where Manhattan was. I didn't think much of it at the time, but obviously it was a much bigger deal than I thought it was during that time. Literally, the whole world changed. This next page looks like an assortment of characters, not sure where they're from. Character from Resident Evil, not even sure what this guy is called, but I thought it looked cool at the time, so I copied it, and to be honest, I never even played this game. Oh, so this is interesting. Growing up, I had no idea what Attack on Titan was, but I was drawing these giants eating people. Nearly 2 decades later, I'm watching the show on Netflix with giants eating people and thought, holy crap, like I totally drew that when I was, a teenager. It's, what I was like into, I guess. It's just these strange things. Obviously, giants eating people is not a new idea. Goya had Saturn devouring his children, right? That famous painting of his. You had the BFG, Roald Dahl's little novel, the story of the giants eating children, right? So this is just, I guess, a common story throughout time, and it was something that I also drew myself. Not sure what cricket is. My friend tells me that I copied it from something I saw as a kid, but I really don't know where I got it from, and maybe I did see it from someplace, but I just like drawing it. Implanted memories are a very real thing. Star Wars was a really big thing back then. You had the re-releases in the late 90s, right, of the original films, and then, of course, the prequels, which came out. I think the first one came out in 1999, and throughout high school, basically, they were being released. So I was caught up in that franchise hardcore. The time, as you can see here in the sketchbook, I didn't like drawing directly onto Sketchbook. I would draw on different pieces of paper and then paste them in with tape. Dragon Ball. I forget the name of this character. Sorry guys, it's been a long time since I've watched Dragon Ball and I don't remember many of the characters' names, and I don't keep up with that stuff. Venom. More Star Wars. This signature with the AAA goes back to Catholic school. I don't have a middle name, so the middle A was my confirmation name. It was for St. Anthony. Alright, let's keep going. More Star Wars, Spider-Man. Once again, more of these drawings being made on a separate piece of paper and then added to the sketchbook. This habit died right after high school. It was killed off in college where I just, I didn't have the time to be so delicate. I just needed to draw all the time to get better. It's just really funny to see how I used to do things. Around this time, there was a pretty big exhibition for Star Wars. It had the costumes, the concept art, posters, the props, the models. I think it was exhibited at the Brooklyn Museum. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really remember, but it was definitely one of the major New York City museums. I remember an older cousin of mine brought me to see the exhibition, and it was absolutely life-changing. It was the first time that I saw that kind of artwork up close in person, and it was truly amazing to be able to see that, and it clearly influenced me really early on. I wanted to emulate those artists. A lot of these drawings were based off of Star Wars toys that we had. I grew up with 3 younger brothers and a sister, so each of us had quite a few Star Wars toys. I remember this drawing and being super proud of it. It was from the ending scene of Empire Strikes Back, and I love how the characters were in the foreground and they were looking out of this window and watching the galaxy in the distance. It was one of the more involved images that I've made in that time. It was still using, obviously, rudimentary art supplies. I was using Crayola markers, pencils, felt tip markers. The only thing that I was familiar with essentially at the time. Loved Gundam. Obviously, Toonami was a pretty big thing back then as well. So this kid's drawing is not mine. My uncle was dating someone who had nieces and nephews, and I remember that they wanted to draw in my sketchbook, so I just let them. Here's a side-by-side comparison. I was showing this kid how to draw a boat or a ship, and he copied it the best way that he knew how. He was young, maybe 6 or 7. I like his drawing better. It's so much more character. So this drawing is based off of a painting of a painting. It was called Nighthawks. I had it in my room, hanging up on the wall in the attic. And the original painting, many of you may know, is from Edward Hopper. But the rendition that I was copying from, before I even knew who Edward Hopper was, had these famous celebrities from the past, like Elvis, James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, and I forget who the other character was in it. But I liked the composition. I liked the arrangement of the characters and what they were doing, so I copied it roughly. Gremlins. This is my attempt at portraiture. So I had zero understanding of anatomy, form, shading, any of that stuff. I remember being so proud of this drawing, showing it to my parents. I thought it was the most realistic thing I've ever done at the time. Bunch of Victoria's Secret models drawn poorly. Here's one of my mom. Drawing out of magazines and trying to get better at faces at this point. I was practicing because I was prepping to try to get into art school at this time. I was probably in 8th grade or so. And so I remember some of the requirements is that you needed to draw portraits. And I was terrible at drawing faces. So I just kept practicing and trying to get better at drawing faces. Here's a drawing of my brother Robert sleeping, and I drew some droid over him. So this was for a band that I was in high school, and just the summer before college started. It was called Failure to Believe. It was a screamo / medical band. We were absolutely terrible, and we made a lot of racket, but I remember thinking that we were really great at the time. I wanted to make the artwork for the band, so looking back at the subject matter, it's unfortunate. The music scene had this kind of romanticized, glorified idea of cutting and self-harm, so you can see where my head was at. Next to that is a gnome. My best friend and I used to have art battles in high school. He used to draw goblins and I drew gnomes, and we would draw scenes of each of them kicking the crap out of each other. Another thing that my friend and I did was draw a comic called Ace, the Alex Calling Experience. It was about our school being overrun by zombies and us trying to survive with our friends. We would draw these on loose leaf paper and margins. Many of the comics that we made were confiscated by teachers and just straight up thrown out. I wish we had some of them left over, but they are all lost due to time. This is a long time ago. My friend Colin literally had a drawer full of these comics, and his mother unfortunately got rid of all of them. So yeah, I would love to see what the hell those look like, but yeah, they're not there anymore. So now this is where we switch over to college. Stylistically, there's a bunch of major changes. In college, I was trying out all sorts of different styles and made friends with other artists, and all of them influenced me in some way or another. Here, I tried making a comic called Unicorn Boy with a ballpoint pen and some watercolor. Maybe I'll scan these in so you can see a little bit better and you can actually read it, but we'll just go through this real quick. So, unfortunately, I was an idiot and I never really wrote out an actual story for this comic. I was just coming up with it as I was drawing it, and, none of it makes sense. But the basic story that I had, looking back at this, is that I had this character called Unicorn Boy who was being chased for his horn. And even his own parents were trying to steal his horn. I never came up with a reason why. What was the significance of the horn? What sort of ability it had? I have no idea. Like, it was just like, that's just what it was, right? People were chasing him for this horn that he had. And so he befriends this wolf masked man. You know, they're fighting to survive against mobs of people chasing them. And then there's this weird water tank that is sentient and chases them as well. It has this claw that comes out from the bottom, and you can see here it's trying to smash through the house that they're hiding in. None of it makes any sense, but it was fun to draw. More pencil drawings, random characters, Mom America. Not sure what this character idea was, but you know, I tried different designs for Mom America. I guess I like the name, and for some reason I thought it would be this big black woman. More Unicorn Boy. Juan Pablo is Unicorn Boy. More magazine drawings. Testing out markers, and I remember hating how it would bleed right through the page and also the smell of them. Experimenting with pen and ink. This was my first time using a pen and nib in college, and I liked it enough to keep using it, and till this day I'm still using pen and nibs for drawing. Some mecha abstraction, I don't know. I do wonder how this would look like if I did take it further and painted it. Failure to Believe logo. Never actually printed this. So after Failure to Believe disbanded, I started a new band in college called Starving Children with some friends of mine there. All of them were artists as well, so that was fun. You can hear some of that music on my other channel, Pixel Pinup Girl, if you're interested or curious enough. And of course, ending with some vulgar drawings from high school. That's basically it. So that's my very first sketchbook from 2002 to about 2005. I've seen other artists on YouTube do these kinds of sketchbook tours, so I figured I'd also throw mine out there. I'll do another one of these pretty soon. I have tons of sketchbooks that I've kept over the years, and you know, there's just, you could see all the different kinds of drawings and progression I have had as an artist. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back soon to check out more videos that I'm going to be releasing. Subscribe if this is your kind of jam, and goodbye.